Hello everyone, this is Vabaprita and here is my classroom presentation with the topic Self-Monitoring Techniques and Strategies. What is self-monitoring? Self-monitoring is an effective strategy or a tool to help students understand their everyday challenges and provide appropriate or individualized solutions so as to steer them ahead with more clarity and purpose in life. Self-monitoring is built on metacognition. If we want students to effectively self-monitor their learning and their choices, we need to start by building their inner thinking voice. Self-monitoring for elementary students and secondary students are consisting of the executive functioning side of it and the social emotional learning side of it. First, let's check self-monitoring benefits for all students irrespective of general class students or special ed class students. According to Moxley and Rock, here are few of the highlights. Self-monitoring increases students' awareness of their own behavior. It provides more immediate feedback to students than is possible when teachers evaluate their behavior. Self-monitoring facilitates communication between students and their parent, and it clearly depicts improvement over time in behavior for both the student and of the teacher. Now let's quickly sum up some of the benefits, some additional benefits for students with different disabilities. Some of the highlights are less aggressive behavior in students, academic engagement and fewer disruptive behaviors for elementary age students, the ability to follow directions in junior high school classes, on-task behavior, less disruptive behavior and listening skills for grades 7 to 9, social behaviors and completion of written classroom work at the high school level. And these behaviors are summed up from a list of references as given in this slide. Here is a list of effective techniques used in elementary students' classrooms for self-monitoring. One of the most effective ones is stop. That's a time for a pause. Stop, think and act. Some more effective self-monitoring strategies are like good listening, quiet hands or hands to yourselves, then resting feet. Is it my turn to speak, or raising your hand before speaking up for asking a question, and putting visual aids as reminders for all these type of moments or reminders for students throughout the classroom. In case of secondary level students, there are more elaborate self-monitoring techniques that could be used effectively. Some of them are checking in with yourself, that is the student themselves or students themselves checking in about their current status, and if any issues or challenges are hindering their progress in their everyday life or academic life. A reflective journal works in many cases where students like to write down their problems instead of bottling up and not speaking to anyone. Vision boards and writing out goals also are effective strategies. And one of the most commonly used goals for high school students or secondary level students, and even beyond school, that is in college, university and workplaces, are setting SMART goals. What is SMART? SMART being specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and time bound. So setting SMART goals for oneself actually gives more effective results. And for stressors and difficult situations, secondary level students use a lot of different type of individualized coping strategies. Like some of the students would like to listen to music, or someone want to like to take a walk or de-stress and recoup at a calming couch spot, relax with a pet or a plant, or use fidget toys, and there are many more such coping strategies which are very individualized to each student how they would like to de-stress. Some good examples for self-monitoring in secondary students are making action plans with academic and also sometimes with the social emotional situations. Then taking a break. A person or an individual or a student should know when to take a break if a situation is too stressing. Setting expectations, like realistic expectations for the self, like thinking about some of the mottos like perfection is not the only answer. Set practical goals or chunk it down, like no need to do everything all at once. If everything is overwhelming, then chunking down the assignment or a task helps in completion of tasks in most of the cases. Another one is something is better than nothing. Rather than finding an assignment or a task too overwhelming to finish or complete, or let's say reading a book, rather than reading a book all at once, reading a chapter each day or few pages each day as a goal would at least help in completing some portion of it, rather than not completing or not doing the assignment at all. Set your bar low. That doesn't mean that the goal is low, but to complete a goal, start with the easiest or the most attainable or doable step of it and then go higher. So these type of expectation setting in a secondary level student at least helps them in reaching their goals or doing their task more effectively than not doing it all. Then know your distractions. Knowing one's distraction is like the best possible tool to have. If the students are they know what the distractions are, then they can actually put post-it notes or other such strategies that could help them not getting distracted and being on task. And stress is a very important part of our everyday life, be it a student or a grown-up individual in a workplace or a family. To know one's stressors, like what type of stress causing elements are making us veer off from our path, like let's say too many things on your plate or personal issues that are making it hard to focus, or situational circumstances that are outside of one's control. Sometimes there are a lot of things going on in one's life and we can't get a handle on multiple aspects, or can't catch a break after a series of negative happenings or disappointments or upsetting outcomes in one's life. So such stress causing elements also deter a student from completing their task or staying on assignment. So knowing such stressors and tackling them with coping strategies helps a lot for secondary students. Using executive functioning skills for self-monitoring is really a good way of keeping students on task and understanding about one's own shortcomings, skills, strengths, and other aspects of one's career or student life. Executive functioning is the process of reflecting and using strategies to track performance and outcomes. Such skills help students to check the effectiveness of their strategy use, to evaluate and revise their strategy use, and to continually adjust their use of strategies according to the task demands. Some of the aspects are summed up here very effectively. Emotional control, that is the ability to manage feelings. Self-control, ability to stop and think before acting. Flexibility, ability to modify and adapt to changing situations. Organization, ability to develop systems to manage, such as action plans or task completion sheets. Time management, ability to manage time to complete tasks. Working memory, ability to use memory to complete tasks. And of course, task initiation, which is an ability to start and stop tasks. So these effectively sum up the different executive functioning skills a student can use to stay on track and perform more effectively in their student life. Now, since in these previous slides we saw a lot of aspects of self-monitoring, how it helps students stay on track, how it helps them in their learning, that is the academic life, as well as their social emotional life, let's now sum up the highlights of self-monitoring before we end this presentation. So self-monitoring engages students in reflecting any type of behavior or challenges that is hindering their academic and or social success. It facilitates students to self-assess their executive functioning skills and or behavior, then record and reflect on the results. Self-monitoring helps in increasing or decreasing the frequency, intensity, or duration of existing social emotional challenging behavior in students. Self-monitoring saves teachers time in monitoring each student's behavior, and it makes students ready for their future years in their academic years or career or generally in the community by inculcating such smart strategies since their early years. So with that, let's now come to our last but one slide, which compiles all the resources and references used to prepare this presentation. And here they are listed, the different books, websites, and other resources like abstracts of papers. Some of the other resources where graphics have been used have been cited under the slide itself, like website resources and all. So with that, I conclude my presentation today. And thanks to you all for listening and watching my presentation. I look forward to your comments and your suggestions about this presentation today. Thank you very much.